I wish I caught that. Say it again, Robin. All right, so we're going to use this old stuff to do today's work. So file save as to make a copy of it. And I'm going to do Crazy Magician Staff and call it Crazy Magician Staff PBR, because we're going to be using PBR materials. Because before we literally just like unwrapped it and put it onto different parts of the texture. Like we couldn't control metallicity and normal map or any of that stuff. We're going to do that today. So just save the copy. Done. LG. All right. So I'm going to go to the modifier list, and you see that I collapsed it to editable poly. So I had the unwrap and everything, and then when you right click convert to editable poly, it remembers it's unwrapped, right? I can still access the unwrap if I want to edit. And what I can do is just add the unwrap modifier back on it. And that will allow me to access its unwrap. Hello. And you can see like the green lines are where I cut it out previously. Cool. And if I, what? No, ask. What's the question?
Just where you have editable poly. If I have edit poly unwrapped, and then got it.
Right click collapse to yes. Right click on edit poly.
You can also right click on the model and convert to editable poly and do the same thing. It's just a way to, it's the same thing. It's just a way to like just, you know, make it easier to deal with. So, and I'm going to add back the unwrap. Coolio. Okay, so we don't need to unwrap again because it's already unwrapped. There is a problem because if I open the UV editor, Coolio. The problem that I have is before, when I unwrapped it, I had loads of pieces that I wanted to be like the same kind of like color or whatever it is. I put them all overlap on top of each other. For today, I actually kind of want to separate them out. So I want each one to be individual so that I can tell each one what to do. Wait, what? Yeah, okay. So this is the thing. There are so many, and this is a pain in the hole. Let me show you magic. So what you want to do is we're going to use Polygon Select, so I can like select polygons, correct? But I can also turn on this yoke, which is Select by Element, which means whenever I just click one of the polys, it selects the entire element. Okay, dokes?
Yo, so handy.
Okay. So what I want to do is I'm just going to zoom out to see everything and just select everything. So I'm literally selecting every single UV island. I hope you all remember what an island is, but every cutout piece is an island. So, like, this is one island. So I'm selecting all of them. All G? Coolio. So here's the magic. Down here, there's this thing that says Arrange Elements. You can force it not to rotate. By default, rotate is off. And you can force it not to rescale. I'm going to turn on both. So what this does is, when I go through the process, it's going to take all the islands that I have and try to give each one its own little space, and it will kind of try to also scale them, so whatever is big on the model will be big on the texture, whatever is small on the model will be small on the texture, because I allowed it to rescale. By default it doesn't rotate, but because I allowed it to rotate, it will also try to rotate the islands to fit as best as it can onto the into the islands. And let me show you what it does. So I don't know what these buttons do fully, but I know that the order to do them is 1, 2, 3, and back to 1. So 1, 2, 3, back to 1. And you see the way it's arranged them all really neatly? There are problems because like this is giant error. It never likes to put stuff in empty bits, but it's now like arranged each little tiny island into its own little individual little area, which is great.
What about the face?
What did you do? Oh yeah, so this is my problem. This is why I never showed you this before, because like mine fucked up because it doesn't. It's not its fault. It doesn't know that like this giant piece has a whole empty space inside and I can put stuff inside. So I may have to manually do that. Yours kind of did you turn on rotate? Okay. So like I don't know what yours did, but that happens a lot sometimes. Sometimes it like, especially for long things, it's like, oh, I can't fit that, so I'm just gonna put it in the corner and then try to arrange everything. So it's not super smart, but it's quite useful to get to a point where I know everything is like correct. And then I can do like manually, I might be like, okay, I actually want this to go here, and I can scale this up. Like this can get.
What about those, I guess Hazel said, like those have, on the material that we use, that has specific.
Exactly. So that's why I'm doing this now, is because we're going to make a brand new material.
Oh, right. Okay.
Completely brand new one,
Right.
Yeah. So I don't care about this.
All right.
Now, one thing to remember is orientation does matter. So like, you see these are, this one is straight. When I go to create materials in substance, yeah. When I add a material, let's say I'm adding like a bamboo material where it's got like stripes, all right? So the material is going to look like this with stripes. This is straight, so when the material is added onto it, it will have stripes straight, which is correct. The problem is if I have an island that's like this, and I use this material, it's not going to look, you know, sideways, okay? So orientation does matter. Now, it's not the worst case, because in substance, you can rotate the materials as well. So you can kind of like, oh shit, it's not right, I can rotate the material to follow the line. You'll see that in a sec. But it's just a bit easier for you to make sure, you know, like stuff that you know that you want straight stuff on, just keep it straight. And that's why that rotate button isn't there. So like, if you want to, these two yolks are, what are they again? I can't remember what they are. Oh, they're the outside bits. So I don't really care too much about them. What I can do is ignore them for a bit, and then I'll deal with them later. So then I'll select these, and I'll arrange 1, 2, 3, back to 1. Cool. So these get packed correctly, and now I only need to worry about these two silly ones, and I'm going to try and fit them in manually somewhere. Does that kind of make sense? Because like it was getting confused when those two were in there, so I put them outside, packed everything else, and then I'll just worry about these by themselves. So I can probably fit them. Fucking no, I don't know where. For now, I'm just gonna squish them in here. That's not great because that means these will be very low resolution, and they're actually the outside, which is quite a big deal.
Can I see it again?
But you see the way, like, because I got rid of the ones that it was confused about, it has packed everything else, like, you know, closer together. Another thing is, let me just turn off rescale. Let's make this a little bigger. I'm going to turn off rescale so it doesn't rescale this one. And I can also see this padding thing. Right now the padding is like, it's giving them 0.02 distance away from each other, so it's not putting them too close. If I make it like 0, why does it rescale? It's packing them a lot tighter than it did before. Alright, so that's another way to kind of get the most out of your, oh my god, the most out of your UVs. So if y'all just want to do that real quick, and then we can export this and bring this into Substance Painter. Clear. Alright. So, you know the way like in AAA I told you that unwrapping is like a job by itself? This is why. Because there's literally someone who's going to use the last little bits of space possible and try to get like as much, you know, in there as possible. It's a bit of a work, but I don't want to see your.
You're diving.
I can't respond because it's recording. You can say it. All right. When you're finished with this, all you need to do is close it, and you can, if you want, just collapse it back to editable poly, or just export it. Whatevs, I don't care. So just make sure export selected, export selected, and make sure you know where you're exporting it to.
Yeah, we're not exporting the. Oh no, never mind.
Should we move stuff around so we don't have like a button on free space? Because all my
Yes, yes. You want to try like use up as much space as possible.
Okay. Oh, they're balls.
So I'll give you some time to do that, and I'm just going to walk around, see what people are doing. Animation, turbo smooth, blah blah blah. Yes. No, it's okay. It's not too bad. I'd say select the bits that aren't the big long bits.
Yeah.
Because and then try to wrap them, and then.
Yeah. Where's the select round?
This will be. Select by element is the big square thing. I saved as, so it was a different name. So
Yeah, no, but when you export it
yeah, because it remembers your last export, which is probably called magic staff or something. So I just call mine magic staff PBN.
So I want to delete half of it so that I can just texture one half.
Yeah, it's we're just learning. It's not a final product. It's not too bad. Zoom out of it.
we don't need to change any of the advanced settings.
Say what? Sorry.
Oh, we don't need to change any of the advanced settings, do we?
Advanced settings.
You export it and that's all it.
Just make sure it's got geometry and smoothing groups and stuff, and that should be pretty much okay. Yeah.
Oh,
Do you mind if I turn off the lights? Because the next parts are a little important. And while you're all doing that, let me do the attendance, which I don't know where I put it.
Yeah, he did do a new chapter.
oh, jeez.
I don't know what half these little things are. I'm so many like broken little bits. I did this so fucking quickly.
Connor Barron. Rather than being 7, 8. Michael Brown. Gilbert. What's your name? Amber. Said you don't know what. Scott Cohen. Darren. Who's Darren been? When did that happen? And if you see him on a shot in front of him, shoot, probably get if you see him, just in case. Yeah, I was going to do that. Connor Fox. Ian. How's he doing?
I think it's
Yeah, well, fair. Again, same with him. Patrick Kennedy. Yeah. What's it? I forgot today. Dan. Is it? Dan Incredible. Is it here? Is it the photo? Did I miss anyone? I don't know. Okay, Coolio, when we're ready, export it, and then open up Sketchfab. Oh, Substance, sorry. Substance. If my Substance looks a bit different, I'm sorry. I'm a little bit behind the updates. Does it look very different? What do you have? No? Not really? Okay. Okay, that's alright. Because it did change UI at one point. 5 more minutes, okay? Yeah? Right. So like, see, it's yellow, which means it's not that important. So it's true. When it's red, you need to worry.
Oh, it's the same issue. Okay, cool. I don't feel so bad now.
GPU. I think that's what I said to me at the start.
See, it's a pain in the hole because it is worth fixing, but every time you update Substance, it screws up again. It's not a Substance issue, it's a Windows issue.
Yeah.
So basically, Windows will kind of shut down any program or like warn you about any program that takes too long. But because Substance is Substance, sometimes it takes a long time to render shit, and Windows goes, "Oh my god, what's wrong?" And that one's just to like tell Windows to chill. But every time you update it, like, you know. So I just, whatever. I never run into issues, so I'll worry about it if I do. So for those who already exported it, we can just in Substance import it, and you just go like File, New, and you get this yoke. And because Substance is amazing, you literally have a template for Unity 5. You can just go like, I want to make shit for Unity. If you click on it, there's a Dota one for some reason. And there's like generic PBR metal roughness. There's Unreal, and there's also later, not here, but there's an option to also export for Sketchfab. So you know the way Sketchfab uses slightly different PBR? You can just go export for Sketchfab, and it'll give you the maps that Sketchfab uses. But by far, we're going to probably just be using Unity 5. If you have cameras, you can import cameras. I'm not gonna. Normal map format. I think I'm going to use OpenGL. And the document resolution is how high res your document's going to be when you are looking at it. You can change it later though. So it's a weird thing because Substance uses materials, you can make the resolution higher or lower later. Because it just goes like, okay, you're putting that material there, I'll remember that. And then when you actually go to export, it will ask you, do you want high res or low res? So I generally have this like, whatever your computer will run, it's going to be different than everyone's computer. I can do 2048, kind of pretty much max. I think most people will probably be like 512, 1024, depending on your computer. But it doesn't really make a difference right now. And then where the file is, that's where you put your FBX. There. Cool. And then when you're done, just hit OK. And it will import. I'm just going to leave that up there for people to look at. The settings and shit. What are you doing? Oh, you didn't export selected, so it's perfect. So it's cool. Just go and export again to a new file.
So
Click on the one you actually want to export and then export selected.
this one.
Alright, whoever has imported it, whenever you hit OK, you should see on the left side is the 3D model, and on the right side is like the UV texture. So let me just hit OK on this. Can I? So when we hold off for a bit? Did you? Alright, cool. Okie dokes. And so left side is the actual model, right side is the UV that's unwrapped. And the great thing about Substance is I can paint on both of these. So I can mess around with both of these, and I'll show you what I mean. So I have this material here. You see the way it looks like aluminium kind of insulation kind of thing? It's already pre-made. The way this kind of works is sort of like, you see with the layers, it's sort of like Photoshop. So if I drag that into layers, and just let go, it just does it to all over. Everything's using that material now.
How do I focus that screen? The one on the right.
This one?
Yeah.
Oh, you should be able to just move it. Oh my god, what am I doing? Oh no! You should just be able to zoom in and out, and like
You can't click that and move on.
Alt middle mouse to move.
There you go.
Okay, and then Alt left click to rotate. Sorry, I forgot to say that. Alt left click to rotate. Alt middle mouse to move. So I know there's a lot of weirdness because Unity uses one way of controlling, Max uses another way, this uses another way. You get used to it if you use go between them. So that material's here, right? And the thing is, I also have this thing called scale, so I can change the scale of shit and change the rotation of it, and that's like how this thing works. It uses the kind of unwrap. So you see here, there's a bit of warping. See that? And that's because I didn't unwrap it properly. So if you don't unwrap it properly, where it like, you know, everything, all the polygons are nice and neat, you get problems like this, which is why it's important to unwrap correctly. Yeah, I know, right? It's okay, we're learning. All right, so if you want to turn it off, just turn it off. Like literally here, you just turn off, and you can just drag on more. Like I have a few more different types of materials because I've downloaded them, and you can download them yourself later. I'll show you where, but like you can go in and add different materials, and these all come with normal maps already in them, so you don't need to worry about normal maps and stuff. All right, so I'm just going to use the basic materials because I think most of y'all only have basic materials, right? So on the left hand side here, there's materials and smart materials. The only difference between materials and smart materials is smart materials have more settings that you can control. So let me just go materials. I'm just going to turn this off and add like, I don't know, brass here. So that's all brassy. I can go to smart materials, and smart materials usually have stuff like, let's see, I'm throwing fabric here. That's like, you know, terry cloth kind of fabric. And you know the way here, I use a very small part of the texture area, and that's exactly what's going to happen. Like it gets all stretched and shitty.
Oh, so that's why the scale thing is kind of...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then smart materials are in a folder, and they generally have like other layers you can like mess around with. So like there's stuff in here, so you can see I'm kind of messing around with that, and that sharpens. It's different for every smart material. They generally are like a folder you can do shit in. So that's grand. Excuse me. I'm just going to use the basic materials now. So I put brass there, but you'll see that it affects everything. Let me just delete all my other layers that I don't need. Okay, it's affecting everything, which I may not want. Maybe I want like this little part up here to be, I don't know, this kind of blue visor. Where is it? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? There you go.
Can you glass in this?
You can, but let me just do that in a sec. So let me just, I put that glass visor front again. Oh no, it's affecting everything. Yeah. So I don't want that. I just want this blue to only affect, let's say some of the little beads. All right. So what I want to do is, if I right click on this, there is white and black mask. If you'll know from Photoshop what a mask is in Photoshop, black will like block off everything. White will let stuff show through. So let me just put a black mask, for example, and now it has this thing that's a mask, and it's all pure black, so it's blocking everything. Okay. So what I can do is over to the left here, I can either paint. The paint properties are here. You can go down and there should be color here, grayscale. So if I'm painting white, I'm selecting the mask, so I'm painting on the mask, and if I paint white, it's going to show up where I painted. Coolio. I can also use this tool here, which is Polygon Fill, and Polygon has 3 modes. It can either select like the polygon, the whole elements, so like the whole thing, or the UV unwrap. And the UV unwrap is quite useful. So like if I know this edge is unwrapped and I just click on that, it will only do the unwrap. Coolio?
It's not drawn on my thing.
What do you mean?
You go to the thing on the right.
You can go to the thing on the right. You can literally just do that, and it works.
Oh, I feel better.
Both of them work. Sorry, what's the question, Hazel?
Mine's not changing at all.
Did you put a black mask, right? Okay. Oh, is it below? Yeah, so it's literally like Photoshop. Stuff on top goes over. Which is Panderoni. So transparency by default isn't allowed. It doesn't have a transparency by default. Where the layers are where your materials go in. On the right hand side, where's
No, just sorry. I know we're just on the painting front.
your?
Like on the black, is there an erase like little thing? So like say
Okay,
you make a
so
mistake and you don't want to control.
So I'm painting white, which lets everything show through.
So you just
And just paint black, and it blocks off shit that, you know. Because I'm on the black mask. If I paint black,
Okay.
it blocks off. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Will I let you play with that for a while? Fair. Pretty cool though.
Glass visor is shiny.
It's very shiny. I'm gonna make an orange snake. No, I don't want orange snake. What do I want? Jade snake. That's what I want.
Whoa.
I know, right? But black mask. Oh shit. And
Yeah, you go to. You see where there's 4 buttons. You see where there's like a squiggly line, and then it's like a circle, and then it's like a sphere with a dot. And then there's like one that looks like a gradient back in Photoshop. You click that one, and then change it to black, and then color on the pen. Look, come here, I'm sorry. Is there any way to change this scrolling thing because it's inverted and it's driving me insane?
it drives me insane as well.
No, it's
You
changed.
can. There is, but whenever I change it, it's still weird. Edit, settings, and interface options.
Yeah.
Where is it? Should be somewhere here. There's definitely like a setting somewhere. Can't remember. Because they changed this bit as well. I found it easier to just go, okay, what else? I'll deal with it. But it's quite annoying. Oh yeah, here, inverse direction.
Where is this?
It's in general. Zoom speed, and you can inverse direction. Wheel speed.
Is that wheel speed or zoom speed?
I think it's zoom. Is it better?
That's it.
Cool. Kill.
No, it's not. Never mind.
Lol. Oh, I like wood. That's cool. So let me know when you want to do transparency. It's great, isn't it?
Is there a fuse? No, no.
Probably.
like that there's so many different skin. That's everything like skin stuff.
Oh,
Oh, it's skin. Oh, that's loud.
where's in this one? Okay. Okay, so I'd just like to show you something real quick, which I know some of you probably have already thought about it, but just to show you. So I have like a metal, pure metal below, and I put like this blue plastic color over it. So what I can do, let me just add a white mask, so it's letting everything show through. And then here on the bottom, there's materials, but it's also brushes. So I can go to brushes, and they have all these kind of brushes in. And let me grab, let's say, like a scraggly brush like this, and go to the brush tool, and there is the color. So let me paint pure black. So what I can do is, this takes tablet as well, so you get sensitivity. I don't have my tablet with me, but you can. So I can do like stuff like that, which gives, why is it not doing the back filter? There we go. So I can do stuff like that. So it looks like edges are worn through kind of thing. So I'm just like basically painting in edge wear, which is quick and nice, easy way to make things look realistic. So you can see from far away, it looks like that bit's a painted bit that's been edged and worn. And just depends on what you put below. You can put like a rust material below as well, and it will, there you go, looks like it's, you know, edging through. And then I can do white mask on this, so I can layer them, so it looks like, you know, it's worn through. Some bits are showing through and some bits are rusted around, so I'm just layering those materials over. So the top is that blue, and then there's a bit of rust below it, and then below it is like metal. So like if you look at like an old bicycle, they're really good to look at because you can see where bits have been rubbed off. There's the metal showing through, but there's a lot of rust around it, and then the paint is on top of everything, which is literally what I'm doing. Cool. So you're ready for transparency?
Where's the brushes?
Brushes is down bottom left, the shelf here. See the brushes? Yeah? Cool, yeah.
There's a brush called Basmati.
What?
Basmati, like the rice.
Oh, basmati. Mm-hmm.
Something in my when I was something overlapped basically in my thing, and I didn't have it until now. So.
Oh, get you.
Like, why is this happening? You see that white part? Someone else.
Can you turn off the what? Alright, so just one more thing. So you know the way on the original one we had like those designs in there? And remember I told you that I'd show you how to like stamp on designs and stuff? Here's an example. So there are these things called alphas. You can download them and you can create your own. They're straight up black and white. Black will block stuff, white will let stuff through, like always. So if I go, and in this case I don't want to use a new material. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new layer, and in the layer I have all these properties. The color, which is like the albedo, height, which is kind of like height and normal, kind of similar, roughness, metallicity, and all that stuff. And I don't have to have all of them on, so I can turn off like all of them, for example, and I'll just do height, for example. Actually, no, let me just do this the easier way. Sorry, let me just make it easier. I'll make a fill on the layer. So if I right click on the empty layer, it's completely empty, I can add a fill. And with a fill, it can do all those things: color, height, rough, metal, normal. I can turn off color, so it doesn't do color. I can turn off height. I can turn off the roughness, and I can turn off whatever's on top will affect everything below. So I'm going to do only height, okay? And I'm going to drop the height low. So this is going to make the height go down. Then I'm going to put a black mask in this, and you'll see what I'm trying to do. So it's black, so it's not showing anything. If I grab one of the alphas, and these are just like kind of stamps, let me grab, I don't know, this yoke. And if I stamp that on here, that doesn't work. There we go. So it kind of like, because I put the height to go down, and I put a black mask to block everything, whenever I paint this in white, it shows up by like me stamping on it. Coolio?
Can you scale that up again?
Yeah, of course I can. Just go like way, and I can do that.
What do you scale from?
What?
Sorry, how did you scale that? Sorry.
Oh, like Photoshop, the bracket keys, or up here as well.
Yeah.
Up here as well, you can do it from both. Coolio?
Ooh.
So you can literally stamp shit on.
You go back to the height. How do you go back to the height? Like you said about the height again.
Okay, so let me do it all over again.
No, when
New
you
layer.
stand there-
Nope, too late. New layer. I'm going to right click on it. I'm going to add a fill. And on the fill, I can control what I want. I only care about height right now. So height. Drop it all the way down. And then add a black mask so it doesn't show through. And then whatever I stamp on the black mask will show through.
But you wanted to change the amount of indentation.
Oh, okay. So you don't want to go that deep, or you want...
Yeah, that's what I meant. And then go back to the height.
Okay. So if I wanted to go back, I go back to the layer itself, go back to the fill, and then you can like go, I don't want it, I want it to pop out actually, and you can do that.
Okay.
So you can still control.
Yeah.
Alright?
This is terribly exciting.
Just like that content, I genuinely.
This is so genuinely smart. I always forget these are.
Recorded. Asset Design 2018.
They stop on me. Like they don't stop where I click.
Uh,
That's completely wrong.
Yeah.
what do you mean you don't stop when you click?
Where I click, so they.
Oh, you kind of have to click it hard sometimes.
Oh, that totally works.
Yeah,
That's weird.
it's a bit weird, isn't it? So, by the way, I just want to show you this as well. I'm going to erase this off. You can always erase with the eraser. So I was gonna like stamping on both sides and realized that I was being stupid. Because there's a symmetry, and its symmetry is right here. You can click on symmetry, and then you can control which axis its symmetry is about using like here, whether it mirrors X, Y, or Z. And this is why having a pivot point in the center of your model is so important, because it uses that center pivot point to decide where to mirror. So I'm mirroring in this direction, which means hopefully if I stamp here, it should stamp on the other side. If I'm not stupid. And it does.
If you've already stamped, can you dead mirror, or do you have to?
No, you gotta do it while it's, you know.
It's done?
Yeah, the stamping's a bit weird, isn't it?
Is it easy to do if you have a graphics tab or something?
Yeah, it is.
My mouse wiggles a bit when I click.
Yeah,
and that's
exactly.
graphic.
Yeah, a tablet. I don't do this without tablet usually. Pain in the hole. Oh, no. You sure?
Well, wouldn't it be in the room?
Yeah.
Because sometimes it starts, you hear it far away, and then it like travels around the building. Yeah, but right. Not my problem. But the stamp doesn't always, like the mirror, yeah, sometimes doesn't work that well. Yeah, what else? So it's worth it, like looking at both sides every time you do it, just to make sure it's done its job right.
What's the glass card?
You ready for transparency? Can you? Okay, so transparency is a little more complicated. Texture set settings here. Now, right next to layers, there's a texture set settings. What the texture set settings does is controls what channels this thing is using. So you got your base color, which is your albedo, got your roughness, metallicity, height, and normal. And you also have add channels. So you can add emissive, and you can also add, where is it? Opacity. And I don't know if you have to do this still. I think you had to. I don't remember if you still had to. Let me that is a different fire alarm. So, did they change this? Okay, let's see. Let me just see if this works. I can confirm.
Is it really?
No, it's not. Are you actually serious?
The way you said it, and then you went, yeah, it is. I was kind of like, sorry.
So the whole people do like, oh, the lecture doesn't come up.
But you can leave any time.
I'm more for part one type school. I reckon your flight teacher doesn't show up within the first like 20 minutes or something.
It was always more just an excuse to walk off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My teacher just like didn't show up for the whole 40-minute period once, so everyone was like running up and down the halls. No one came to claim us, and they were like sliding on their knees down the halls.
Are you taking a break?
Yeah, let me just. So I've added the opacity, but I don't know if I need. You used to have to change the shader here, but I don't know what the new shader changing is. So let me just find it.
No, we're Red Bull.
Again, you have over.
Because you went to the side.
Oh God.
I'm not kidding. You make it problem.
You're getting real high time with the
Ew, don't do that. Ew, don't do that. That was really weird.
It's not real.
Oh, this is the old one.
I'm not looking at it. No. It's recorded.
Shader parameters. That's in viewer settings. Where's viewer settings?
No, it's only
Ah, there we go. Okay, so opacity is a weird one. We need to go to texture set settings. We need to add the opacity channel. I also added the emissive channel, but I also need specifically for opacity, I need to go like Windows, Views, and go to shader settings and change from the shader that's using by default is PBR Metal Rough. I need to go PBR Metal Rough with an alpha. PBR Metal Rough with alpha blending, because that shader allows me to do opacity. It's really dumb, but I got to do that in shader settings, which is Window, Views, with alpha blendings, shader settings. You can close that. Oh dear. Yeah, we're actually sounds. So then, like, I made a fill layer here just to show you. I turned off everything except opacity, and I can just go like full transparency and not transparency. And obvious, I can make it like a little transparent, black mask that, and only allow it to show up on the parts that I want.
Sorry, you did that really quick.
My brain is not working because of the fire alarm. So I added a fill, turned off everything else except opacity, and I dropped the opacity down. Then I added a black mask, so it blocks everything else off. And then the same as we've been doing the whole time, I can just tell only this part to be a little bit less opacity. Is that okay? Or no?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah? And as always, I can go back to the fill and change, like, let me make it super opaque or super not opaque. Let's make it halfway transparent. Beautiful. So you can see when I look at it from the side, look, transparency. And I also added emissive. So if I want, I can make another channel. Add a fill again. And on this channel, I'm going to turn off everything except the emission. Oop. And the emission, I can choose the color. So let's say I want stuff to glow red. Cool. I've just changed color to red, so it's going to glow red when I add a black mask. And just say like, you glow red. You glow red. It's this one, remember? The Polygon tool. And I'm just clicking white so it shows true, the mask.
So even though we have the stamp function,
Yar.
how do you get it back to just the regular?
There's brush, there's stamp. And then not the last thing, sorry. One of the things I'm going to show you is projection. And projection...
No, that's still giving it a really big stamp.
What are you talking about? What?
That, like,
Uh-huh.
why do you still stamp?
Oh, when you went to brush, it's still using the stamp? Yeah. Just go to brushes and select one of the other brushes. There's basic hard and basic soft, if you want to go back to basic soft. Changing that. So I am on projection right now, and with any of the brushes or projection or whatever it is, you can slap on materials, and it should that material shows up, and I can just project this material onto wherever I want. Okay, you can also project like textures. So let's say I want to project this. I can put that in there, and it allows me to project that pattern. And projecting, you literally just like, I would probably make a new layer for that projection, and just paint, and then drop done. Just be careful, because like I'm projecting only color, but I can also project like any other thing. So like I can project metallicity and say like project that to be really metal and really smooth. Where's the roughness? There we go. So very smooth. So wherever I project, it makes like a really shiny, makes it that color, but also really shiny and really smooth. Okay, so like this is really useful for like decals and stuff. So if I want like a badge or something like that that's really shiny, I would use this. I project the badge with like whatever settings I want on the material. Is that okay? Yeah? Coolio. So there's only two more little cool things I just want to show you. One is particles, which I like quite a lot. So particles are these things that like, they're like particles in Unity, you know, they actually work physically. So let me click on this burn one and pull this up. And I can add a material for it. I can do my own, select my own color, or I can do a material. So if it's burning, I may want to make it like, I don't know, burn steel, whatever, we'll see. And what happens is I do that, kind of burns upwards, takes a little while, but you see like it kind of has that like, it reacts as if it's burned. And then you can do as well with particles, you can do like this broken glass thing, right, shatters. All the settings are controlled here, by the way, on the right hand side, the particle life, so how long they live, and you see that it shows you like an example. Speed, I can make it faster so they go farther away from each other. The radius, spawn speed, and size. So like now when I paint, it'll be slightly different, and it kind of does that automatically. So it's good for laser blasts, shit like that, like, you know, where stuff's been dirty to whatever. And there's loads of different little ones, like the veins one is disgusting. It looks like, this one's not too bad. So yeah, you can use it to simulate like wear and dirt and stuff like that, so it looks like streaks and stuff. It's really cool, and it will just paint whatever material you're selecting. So cool. So that was the one thing I wanted to show you, particles, which are very cool. And then the last thing is maps, so other maps. So remember I was talking about occlusion, those like little shadow bits? So if I go to texture set settings, again, not the layer, the one right next to it, and I scroll down, I can go like select, bake mesh maps, sorry. So bake mesh maps, and this is really cool. I can turn off what I don't want, and I can just bake ambient occlusion, for example, and bake. Takes a while usually. Q, and it's gone in there. So now I can select it. I don't know if you can see that, but it's got like little shadows and stuff on it, like it's baked already. And I can just use that in. Can you see it if I turn it off? Can you see the difference? I don't know if you can see that. There's a really small difference. And I put it back on. You see there's like little shadows. Like look.
How did you do that?
Here and there. It's on the video. I know you can see like really lightly. There's a bit of like out of inclusion there. So that's baked in already. Texture set settings, bake mesh maps, and then I just baked M inclusion. All cool? All right, so I assume you want to play around with it a bit more, but I just want to show you the last bit of exporting this. I played around with all of this shit. I'm like, cool, I'm done. I want to put this into Unity. So save. Oh my god, I didn't save. Save. Everyone save. 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 Everyone save.
This is not fair than you.
No. No. Are you kidding me? Why would it do something like that? It does and it doesn't. So it has a setting for doing it, but sometimes it, yeah. So I've saved, and this one a little bit more rusty. A little bit more rusty. Okay, so when I'm ready to go, file, export textures. And here is where I'm like, it's 1024 right now, but if I want to, I can go up to way higher resolution. Because I've been using materials, it can up-res and down-res. It's not like Photoshop. So let me do 2048, and I'm doing Unity 5, grand, and this is where it's going to export to, the top one. So I'm going to export it to desktop, asset design, and I probably want to make a new folder for it. And here, and select folder. When you open this, it shows you what it's going to give you. So albedo transparency, metallic smoothness, normal, and emission. Coolio. The format is here. Mine's on PNG, so whatever you prefer. I like PNG. And then you just need to hit export. And then it's going to take a while, and just export it. Let me go find that folder. And there you go. And the maps are done. They're here. So you see there's the albedo, there's the the emission, the metallic smoothness, and the normal map. Now remember, I had the occlusion. I baked an occlusion. That doesn't come out here, so I need to go and find. It's in my textures here. I baked it, so I can just like export resource and export it to the same place. So why can I export it? And that should be there. There we go. I'm in occlusion. There's the map. Okay. So if I go to Unity now and try to import that map, oh, I should close maps. Asset design. Import new asset, and I need to import my model first. So asset design and magic.pbr. Cool. Drag that in. Doesn't have a correct material, so that's fine. I personally like creating folders for like textures, but it's up to you. And then I'll import my textures into here. So all those textures that I got from Sketchfab, just import them all. Create a material. And I literally just need to sign this and fill in the blanks basically. Albedo goes in there, awesome. Emission goes, oh, I need to check on emission. Emission goes in there. Coolio. Which one is this? Metallic? Yeah. Normal map goes here. Looks now. Cool. And then it's the opacity doesn't work. Remember why? Like this bit's supposed to be transparent. Anyone remember why it's not working? What? Standard shader, so I need to change it from opaque to one of the transparencies. Fade is too much. Cut out. Or transparent. Wait, why is fade not working? That's annoying. Okay, that's a bit annoying. Oh, maybe I accidentally made this. Oh no, is that working? It is. This is slightly transparent. I might have accidentally made that part transparent. Whoops. Lol. Yeah, I think I accidentally made these a bit transparent. Either way, now it's working. So we put that back to normal. And then occlusion's the final one. Occlusion just goes into occlusion. And I don't know if you saw the shadows start popping up there. So lower, upper. It just kind of makes it look, a bit more realistic, you know? Like where bits meet each other, especially like this area here. For example, this little area here. I dropped down the shadows. It doesn't look as real as when the shadows are there. So that's what the occlusion does. Okay, yep. And that's my stuff in actual Unity. The other thing you can also do is File, Export Textures. There is also a Sketchfab one. I don't know where it's gone. Sketchfab. And it will give you the textures for Sketchfab instead. Cool, yeah? Because it's a little different from Unity. Any questions? If you are doing something like this and you want to render like a really pretty one to put on your website or whatever, there's loads of programs that can do rendering, but you can also go here. There is a rendering. Where is it? Mode. There we go. Mode rendering. Takes a while. And it goes to like this fancy mode where things just look a little better. It just has more calculation. You can see there's like minimum samples, maximum samples, so that's like how long it should take to render. And the problem with this one is like every time you move, it needs to re-render. So you may want to put it like in a position that you think looks pretty. And this is like for your website or whatever. And you can then render the, do like a render. Where's render? You can save it. I forgot how to save. Where's save it? Oh, here, there we go. Save render. So you can choose like the resolution here, and then you just save it, and it looks, you can see it looks a little bit better, right, than the normal setting. So this is good for like if you have an art station or whatever, you just want a picture of it, you use this and get a nice render of it. Cool.